Good morning, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Cinnamon Stitches. I'm your yarn host, Jennifer. Today we are making the hairnet. Now, I have had so many requests for this hairnet, or snood, as some of you call it. Now, the purpose of this hairnet is to keep all of your hair up and away from your face. This acts as a headband. It is used by people in food industries, kinda. You can make the holes in the net as big or as large as you want to suit your needs. You can make the netting part as big as you want. But for me, I'm going to do it small because I have very short hair now. So I don't need it very long, but I will show you guys how to adjust the pattern for your own hair, your own head. So what you need is your favorite cotton yarn. You can also, a good substitute for just regular cotton, if you have like a ribbon yarn works really good with this pattern. I have done it in the past. I can't show you because I sent it to my sister, but ribbon yarn works really good for this pattern. And if you have ribbon yarn laying around, you don't know what to do with it, or like a tape yarn, that works really good. So what you need is an elastic headband. I got a pack of these at the Dollar Tree a while ago. This one is used, so don't mind it if there's like some, dirty parts on there. But I went to several Dollar Trees and could not find these. I'm sure you could find these at Walmart. I just was not going to Walmart right now. So I dug and found a used one. So I figured that was good enough to show you guys. This is just an elastic headband. It's thin. It's like a really big rubber band, okay? You need it to fit your head comfortably. And I'm going to show you how to make the hairnet using this little elastic headband. If you had elastic, like a wide band elastic, you could probably make your own headband like this. Just, you would have to sew it closed to the size of your head, okay? So to get started, you just want to get a slip knot in there. Okay, start with a slip knot, and then we are going to do single crochet around the headband. And there's not a specific number of stitches you need to get. You just want to put enough stitches in here that you don't have any like gaps, so you don't see the band underneath unless you don't care. Okay. So did you see how I did that? You just wrap around the headband, grab the yarn, pull it around. And this takes a little finagling. So you want all the stitches to line up on the top, this top part of the headband, okay? And then you single crochet. I'll show you again. Go around and pull it up. And if they don't all line up right away, this will move if you don't do it too tight. You can, line them all up. So we'll just keep single crocheting around. Oh, like I said, this does take some getting used to. It's not how we normally crochet. Go around, single crochet. Go around, single crochet. And as you go around, you're going to want to make sure your stitches line up here. But you're also going to want to slide them together so that you don't have like gaps in here. Okay? And the reason I don't make a lot of these is because this part right here drives me crazy. It really does. And that's why it's taken so long for me to show you this pattern. I first showed this hairnet sometime last year. I think it was in the summertime. And every time I show this hairnet, I get just bombarded with requests. Can you please show me how to make that? Can you please show me how to make that? So here we are. Here we are, and I struggle with it, and I fight it, and I pull on that dang yarn. I don't like crocheting around stuff. It's not something I normally do. So keep on, keep on. You guys crocheting along with me, or are you just watching me fuddle my yarn? See, and then you just line your stitches back up towards the top. Let me adjust my camera a little bit more down. You just want your stitches all to line up across the top of this part. And these, keep scrunching them together. And the reason you want like a lot of stitches on here is because when you stretch it to go around your head, you don't want to see a whole bunch of black behind it. So you want to get as many stitches on here as will fit. And this is one of those things where I just cannot crochet fast and make this. I usually crochet fast, and this is tedious to me. It's tedious. Especially when my yarn don't want to pull out. I'll grab a chunk, so I'm not fighting that too. And we just keep on making single crochets all the way around. So I'm going to pause my recording now, and I will come back to you when I have about 8,000 more stitches around this, and I'll show you what to do for the next row. All right, now we got to this point where it seems like, oh, I only have like 2 more stitches to go. Well, like I said, you want to make sure to jam as many stitches on here as you can. So stretch that elastic and pull back that cotton. Make sure that all these are really close together, and keep on adding single crochets. We want to get as many in here as we can so that we don't get any gaps when it's on our heads. So we may have 10 or 15 more to go. And see, now that I've gotten in the groove with it, oh, of course, now I'm going to split my yarn. It goes a little bit faster. It just feels really strange those first, I don't know, 25 stitches. Because you're trying to line everything up and everything's wiggling and that elastic is working against you. Just keep on going till you have, I don't know, 8,000 8,000 single crochets on here. Give or take a couple hundred, you know. And just keep making sure it's lined up. Make sure you got your stitches tight on there. Those are pretty. Look at, see, it's stretched out, and it's, nobody's head is this big, but you see how there's minimal gaps there. That's what you want. You just want to throw as many on there as you can. Just keep sliding. I think we only got a couple more. Make sure our stitches are all pointed upward. All right, I think we're gonna call it a day. Well, for that row anyway. And so this is what it'll look like. All of your single crochets will be at the top here, and this part will just be covered with the bottom part of the single crochet. See? That looks kind of cool. I like this. I'm glad I chose this colorway. These ones need to be moved. You can feel that the elastic underneath twisted there. So you want to make sure that that is flat. Just run around, make sure it's flat and not twisted anywhere. And get your stitches to the top. And then we're just going to do a slip stitch right here to attach it to that first single crochet. That it's kind of loose. Make it tighter. All right, slip stitch. Now the whole body of this is going to be basic chaining. So if you have thicker hair, let's say you have really textured hair, or really curly hair, or you have braids put in your hair, you can do bigger chains and bigger loops at this point. If you have fine hair, thin hair, hair that falls out very easily, and that's not a good idea for like if you're in food management, I would suggest doing smaller chains here to have smaller netting. And you can also adjust the size of the netting if you want it to be like, if you do have braids in your hair, if this will still fit over your braids and over your hair, you can make the netting go out bigger by just doing more chains and skipping fewer stitches here. So I'm going to show you, I'll show you how to do that. So you guys, in case this is confusing, what we're going to do is we're going to chain 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And this is going to be fairly loose netting for me because I'm not going to use this in the food industry. So I can do 5 chains here and then like skip 4 or so chains. Doesn't have to be an exact number at all. And then put a single crochet. And then chain 5. I didn't even count that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-ish. And skip 1, 2, 3, 4-ish. And of course, this doesn't really matter too much. And if you want these holes to be bigger, like for thicker hair where it doesn't matter, you can just chain 8, chain 10, doesn't matter, you'll have a bigger hole. And then you just skip 7, 6 stitches for 8 or whatever, and you'll have a bigger opening. If you want smaller netting, this is about the size of my finger. If you want a smaller netting, just chain like 3 and skip 3, 3 and skip 3, 3 and skip 3, okay? 1, 2, 3, oops, 4, 5, keep slipping on my stitches, skip about 4, it doesn't really matter, you're just making a netting, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, skip about 4, I'm not even counting those because it doesn't matter, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, skip a couple, go down here. To make sure your netting is loose enough, you want it to not pull too hard when you stretch it out, because this is going to stretch to go over your head and your hair. So you want to make sure that these are not too tight. Okay? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Skip a couple. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Skip some more. Put it down there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, if you're one of those people that have to have your numbers counted, and this is not the pattern for you, this is just a haphazard kind of way to do it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If you're very strict about your patterning, this is a pattern you can skip. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Because me, I make these for fun. And my sister loves them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. She really loves having a little bit of color in her hair. And besides, the hairnets that they require her to wear are kind of expensive. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And so she would much rather have something like this. You know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Because this hairnet is going to cost me less than $2 to make. For one, I got this at the thrift store, so it was only 99 cents. But you can get this on sale sometimes for $1. Sometimes, most of the time, it's like $1.89 or $1.99. So $1 for the cotton and $1 for a 5-pack of these elastic bands at the Dollar Tree when you can find them. So it's going to cost me less than $2 to make this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And these are machine washable and dryable. You just got to be careful not to cook it in the dryer because that elastic will melt. But 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You like wash this and you throw it in with maybe the towels or something. Actually, the way I like to do stuff is that if I want to dry it really quick, I will dry my towels and then I will throw this in when the towels are dry and heat it up for like 15 minutes. And because the towels absorb moisture and the towels are already hot and warm, it actually will dry this a lot faster. So you're not applying as much heat to the yarn product. But again, you will get pilling with certain types of yarn. So this only works with certain types of like non-pilling yarn. 3, 4, 5. But for like cotton and stuff, it works perfectly. Because I don't care if my headband pills. I can just, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Skip some more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Skip some more. Looks like we're skipping about 8 stitches at this point, just because there's so many jammed in. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. We'll skip some more, throw it in there. 1, 2, 3, 4. Whoops, 5. I keep coming out of my stitches. I'm getting excited. Throw one in here. All right, now see, we're almost to the beginning of the row right here. And instead of connecting down here, we're going to connect up here in this loop. So we're going to chain our 5. 1, 2, 3, whoops, 4 and 5. Dang it. Slippery hook. We're going to go in here and double crochet. So the only thing you're really going to count through this is your chains. So for the next several rows, this is what it will look like. We are going to keep chaining 5 and single crochet in this loop, chain 5 and single crochet in this loop, chain 5, single crochet in this loop. So I will show you what that looks like. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now remember, you can make these loops bigger and or smaller depending on what you need it for and what type of hair you have. Good gracious. That's the problem with this furls hook, it's slippery. 2, 3, 4, 5, which is not normally a problem when I'm crocheting fast, but when I'm doing a tutorial, I have to purposely slow down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so I get a lot of slippage. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But to me, that's not a negative. I actually really like this hook. 2, 3, 4, and 5. We just keep on. See, we're just connected in every loop with a single crochet. See, it's just going to keep on causing netting. 2, 3, 4, 5. And you can do these loops big, small, doesn't matter. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But if you start with like you want smaller here, you're going to continue doing that smaller up here. So if you did a chain 4 or chain 3 down here, this next row will be whatever you started with, a chain 3, chain 4, or for bigger loops, chain 8, doesn't matter. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Just remember, if you want the smaller loops, do smaller chains and do them closer together. If you want bigger loops, do more chains and spread these stitches apart. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You guys getting tired of hearing me count to 5? I feel like this is a Sesame Street episode. 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep, I'm not finishing. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Whoops. Slippage. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Trying to get you back to that beginning of the second row so I can show you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now we're going to keep on doing the same repeat. 3, 4, 5 until it reaches a length that you want. So that's another thing that you're going to have to customize this pattern with. If you have longer, thicker hair, you're going to need to make the netting body of this longer. If you have shorter hair, you won't do as many rows. So for me, I have short hair. I don't know how many rows it's going to take, but I will show you guys when I get there. If you have really long, really thick hair, the body of this will grow a lot. So that's another thing you're going to have to measure on your own. 3, 4, 5. And the way to do that is to put it on your head when you're about 5 or 6 rows in, and grab the ends and pinch it together and see if all of your hair can fit in there. 2, 3, 4, 5. So you're just going to measure it to your hair. And the good thing about this pattern is this actually would work for a man's hairnet too. If, you know, you're a man and you need a hairnet. 3, 4, 5. Or you know somebody who works in the food industry that needs one. And this denim color would be perfect for a dude, right? At least that's what I think. 2, 3, 4, and 5. Oh, see? And this is where we connected the 2 rows. So we're going to add one in there. And then we're just going to keep on chaining 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And keep on connecting and keep going in the round until you have enough inches this way to fit over your hair. I'm going to keep crocheting. I'm going to leave you to your counting to 5, and I will be back when it gets a little bit longer. Okay guys, we're back. Now, don't forget, because when you're crocheting, it's going to scrunch up like this. So don't forget to stretch it out this way. And put this part over your head and make sure that this can touch and meet either at the back of your head if you have short hair like me, or a couple inches past the back of your head if you have really long or really thick hair. Now, I just wanted to give you another tip. If you notice that your sides are going out too far and you feel like this is going to be too baggy around your head, a way to do decreases on this pattern is, instead of doing like a chain 5 here, up here I started doing a chain 4 and just connecting in the middle still. And then you can even do a chain 3. As a matter of fact, that's how we are going to end this, is we are going to do decreases. So this measures to the back of my head. I got my tape measure here, which I never come prepared with a tape measure, but if you measure it from here, make sure you stretch some stitches out. That's about 8 inches. So that is from where I want to wear it on my head, like towards the front, towards my forehead, stretch it all the way around to the back of my head where it meets, is about 8 inches. You're going to have to measure your own head. You're going to have, it's all going to be different depending on the size of your head, the size of your hair, etc. I am ready to do the decreases and to close this off, but I wanted to come back and show you guys how to do that. So the way to do decreases is just to lower your stitch count. And I want this to come in a little bit before I close it off. So I want it to come in. So the way to do that is I'm going to actually, instead of chaining 5 and connecting, or 4 and connecting, I'm going to chain for this row 1, 2, 3 and connect it, and we'll give you a much smaller hole. Now you want to get your stitch marker out and mark this, because this is going to show you where the beginning of this row is. Pardon the noise. Looking for a stitch marker. Okay, we're going to mark the very first chain 3. So that way we know that's where we are going to decrease even further. We're going to do a round of chain 3s. Okay, and then when we come back, we'll just change it up. 1, 2, and 3. Pull the next hole, single crochet. And do this all the way around till we come back to that stitch marker. And this will just bring the netting in like if you were closing off the top of a hat. One, two, three. How are you guys doing with your hairnets? Are you struggling or do you find it easy? Let me know in the comments what you think of this pattern. I try to make it as easy as possible for everyone. So I definitely like hearing feedback. 1, 2, 3. So if in the beginning you started with a bigger chain number, like if you wanted bigger holes, and you started with 8 or 10 or whatever number you started with, just at this point, cut it in half or slightly below half, because you really want to bring it in. 2 and 3. 2 and 3. Like I said at the beginning of the video, this is a really good way to use up ribbon or tape yarn. I find that the ribbon or tape yarn just looks really cool in a netting style, and I like that it doesn't seem to pull your hair as much as some other yarns. I made one of these out of mercerized cotton, and Lord help me, it pulls my hair out. So I don't recommend mercerized cotton, but this soft cotton is good, and tape or ribbon style yarn is good. 2 and 3, and see, we are back to the stitch marker. So we're going to connect in there, and now we're going to decrease even further. We're going to chain 2 and connect it. So 1, 2, and connect. And you see, the holes get drastically smaller. We have 5s down here, and then 4s, 3, and then 2 is this one. 1, 2, 1, 2. Just keep on going around. 1, 2, 2. 1, 2. We actually kind of had fun making this one today, except for the first 25 or so stitches. Those are always the hardest. Just keep on going around till you meet the stitch marker again. This mesh style stitching where you just do the chains and connect them is also really good for market bags. If you want like an open loose market bag, I have used this netting stitch for a lot of market bags. Ooh, my arms are burning. I'm holding my arms up and around my camera. Oh, see, we're back to where the stitch marker is, so we're going to attach it. And the way I'm holding my arms up and over, it's like, ooh, my arms are burning. Okay, now I'm going to lay this flat. And you see the way it brings it in a little bit? You can further bring it in another row if you want. But what we're going to do is we're just going to go and we're just going to do single crochet, I will show you. And we're just going to, we can take the stitch marker out now. So instead of the chaining, we are going to just go in that and do a single crochet, no chain, single crochet, no chain, single crochet in each one of those chain 2 spaces all the way around. And this is going to give it another, another level of decrease, but it's also going to give us the ability to attach these single crochets to each other. so that we can close off the bottom. Just keep single crocheting in each one of those, whoops, in each one of those chain 2 spaces. Till you get to the back, to the beginning where that first single crochet was. It should be very clear to you where it is. Of course, if you have trouble and you don't recognize your stitches very well, you could have left the stitch marker in there, but I recognize where my stitches are pretty well. See? Let's see. We got one more chain 2 space, and then there's the beginning of the single crochets. And then we're going to slip stitch into that one and see how much it has decreased now. And we're just going to close this part off by pinching this flat. And then we're going to single crochet across the stitches like this. Pull that a little tighter. Just across the 2 sets of single crochet. You're going to have a seam here, but the seam can go on the inside of the net when you wear it in your hair. If you wanted to, you could sew this with like a blanket stitch. It's up to you. You'll have less of a seam, but the seam doesn't bother me at all because I just flip that on the inside of the net. And just crochet those, single crochet all the way across to draw those 2 together. Whoa, goodness. Keep slipping out. One more here. And we'll just put an extra one just to secure it. Let me get my scissors, wherever I put them. Rack it, rack it. Cut. Tie off. Weave that in. We'll pretend I weaved it in. And flip it inside out so the seam is on the inside. That's what the bottom of the net looks like. That will be at the back of your head. See? And there's your hairnet. I'm going to put this on my head and I'll flip the camera around and show you what it looks like on my head. What do you think? There you have it. My sister loves hers. She wears it. She works with food for the elderly and she wears hers to work every day. She loves it because it was free to her. But she also likes it because it's like, it adds a little bit of color. And the ones you find in the store are usually like hair colored, and they actually let her wear a little bit of color in her hair. And I think it's cute, and it keeps all your hair up and back. And like I said, you can make these as big or as small as you want them or need them. I'll show you the back. So there you have it. I finally made the tutorial for the hairnet, and this is how much yarn I have left from my little skein. There's quite a bit there. So I hope you had fun with this tutorial, and I'm looking forward to next week, guys. Next week is premiere week. I can't wait to share all the stuff that we've been working on. We're gonna have some tutorials, and we're gonna have some yarn showcased, and my favorite yarns, of course. And I'm gonna do a giveaway next week during one of the videos, but you gotta watch the videos to learn about the giveaway. I'm so excited. Can't wait to share that with you all next week. Premiere week on Cinnamon Stitches. Yay! All right, guys, I'm gonna let you go. You have a fantastic day, and thank you for joining me.